Today we're going to talk about sports injury prevention, and we're going to go over a little bit of vocabulary that goes with sports injury prevention. So what are we going to learn about in this unit? We'll be covering the following topics in this unit. A little vocabulary, what puts you at risk of injury, intrinsic and extrinsic factors, prevention of athletic injuries, components of fitness that impact injury prevention, principles of conditioning, protective equipment fitting, injury prevention programs, sport specific. Okay, a little vocabulary. Concentric contraction occurs when a muscle shortens and there is movement at the joint accompanied by a contraction against a resistance. So let me show this. I'll walk up here in front of the camera. It's when you can get a contraction of a muscle, like if you're doing a bicep curl and you pull up like this muscle tightens as you're pulling the weight up. That's a concentric contraction. Next you have eccentric contraction. The muscle lengthens while contracting against some resistance. So it'd be like you're taking the same barbell in this situation and you're holding that weight and you're going down slowly, but you're still making that bicep contract while the muscle is lengthening, stretching out. Isometric exercise contracts the muscle without changing its length. So that'd be like holding a resistance in place, but it makes the muscle tighten up to hold that weight. Isotonic exercise shortens and lengthens the muscle through a complete range of motion, kind of like doing a push-up or a sit-up. Isokinetic exercise, resistance is given at a fixed velocity of movement with accommodating resistance. So maybe at a certain speed with weight at a certain point. The SAID principle indicates that the body will gradually adapt to the specific demands placed on it. Meaning, your body will gradually gain up to where it needs to be able to handle the weight, to handle the exercise, to handle the intensity. It's called the SAID principle. Ballistic stretching, stretching technique that involves repetitive bouncing motions to produce quick stretches of a muscle. It's not used very often nowadays, but that is one type of stretching. Static stretching, passively stretching muscle by placing it in a maximal stretching, holding it there for a length of time. This is more commonly used nowadays. Proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, or PNF stretching. It's a stretching technique that involves combinations of alternating contractions and stretches. So the person will stretch you, but you also push against them at the same time while they're stretching. PNF stretching. Plyometric exercise. This type of exercise maximizes the myotatic or stretch reflex. Muscular strength. The maximum force that it can be applied by a muscle during a single maximum contraction. Muscular strength. The maximum force that can be applied by a muscle during a single maximum contraction. Muscular endurance, the ability to perform repetitive muscular contractions against some resistance. How long can you do it against a resistance? Hypertrophy, enlargement of a muscle caused by an increase in the size of its cells in response to training. That's why a lot of times if you do push-ups or sit-ups, especially guys will notice this, or they'll see an increase in their chest muscle size and maybe their biceps for just a few minutes, because that's that blood causing those muscles to increase in size. Atrophy, decrease of a muscle caused by the decrease in the size of cells because of inactivity. So if you quit working out, the muscles shrink. Atrophy.